Hey everyone, Dan Purdom here. I'm out here at Squaw Valley Golf Course in Glen Rose, Texas, and I'm going to be doing some testing today, if I can keep my camera straight. I got my 51-inch Scantron Saber in today, and so I'm going to go out here to the Apache Links hole 12, which is a par 5. It's the one a couple days ago I actually almost eagled it. And I'm going to throw 10 shots with each club. So I've got my 49-inch Encore, I've got my 51-inch Scantron, which is new, and then I've also got my 51-inch Carbon Flex, which historically has had the same distance to me as the Encore, the 49-inch, but I'm going to see if anything's different with it, and just compare the distances. So again, I'm going to throw 10 shots with each club, and then I'm going to mark it using my GPS tracking on my golf app, and I'm going to actually walk out to each one, mark it down on a scorecard for all 10 shots, and then I'm going to pick the farthest right shot, and then track the distance to the farthest left shot to get my left and right dispersion average, right? I guess not average, but total left and right dispersion for each one, and then I'm going to pick the closest or the shortest shot and the longest to get my front to back dispersion rate. So I'm going to get all that data, come back out and kind of get my results and thoughts at the end. I'm also going to pay attention to feel, how each club feels. I'm very comfortable with that 49-inch Encore. It's the one that I play all the time. I haven't necessarily liked the 51-inch. It's just a little bit too long for me. For reference, I'm like 5'8 and a half, 5'9". So I'll also pay attention to feel, just kind of overall how I like it, trajectories, accuracy, all that stuff, and kind of come back and give a little bit of analysis on it. Well, let me get my camera set up on the tee box. It looks like there's a group in front of me. There was nobody behind me, but if I get a group, I'm just going to let them play through and just warn them like, hey, there's 20, 30 balls out in the fairway. Yeah, as soon as these guys clear, which they're probably honestly far enough that I can throw once I get my camera set up. So I'm going to get it set up. I'm going to pop back in there, show you which club I'm throwing, and then I'm going to throw 10 balls. If I can figure out Instagram and video editing, I'll speed those parts up. Probably still put the shot tracers in there if I can do that while speeding up. Yeah, I'll come back every club, and then at the end, I'll probably wrap it up on the drive back out there just in this format right here. So let's get to work. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Encore. I do have a group coming up behind me, but I'm hoping I can get through at least these 10 before they get here. If my camera falls over, the data's out there, it is what it is. So let's give it a shot. Okay, now I'm gonna do 10 shots. Scantron, that foursome, I can see them in that previous hole. They still got one more shot into the green, and it's a foursome, so I can hopefully get these shots in. For the Encore, I use cotton candy, Vice, blue and pink. These ones I'm using green with red speckles on it for the red. Pay attention to that shot. Shot 7. That came out lower and straighter without hitting the ground. Shot 9 as well. I think I know what I did. Okay, I know what I did. I stepped through more with my foot. Alright, so last I'm going to do 10 shots with the Carbon Flex. I might have to kind of adjust a little bit and figure out the height. I know this usually comes out skyrocketing up high for me, so maybe I might have to try to line drive it. We'll see. I don't know how well you can see them, but there's 3 young kids out there. They're probably college-age kids. They pulled up when I was done with the Scantron in between this one. So they pulled up. I told them they can go ahead and hit, and then I asked them if they ever heard about fling golf. And so I showed them a shot. I said, hey, you know, if I beat any of you guys, use my ball. And I don't know if they're playing scramble or what, but I beat two of their guys. One guy just hit a rocket right down the dead center of the fairway. The other one was severe right. The other one was kind of skimming short left like a worm burner. Yeah, I beat two of them. They seemed to love it. They thought it was great. They all tried it. I gave my contact information. I'm hoping they're kind of locals and maybe they're going to be interested. As soon as I mentioned the whole thing about, you know, if you got a buddy that doesn't know how to golf, but you want to kind of be able to bring him out of the course with you guys and have fun and kind of get him integrated into your group. And all three of them kind of looked at each other and said a name. I didn't catch it, but that, you know, that kind of shows like, hey, they got somebody that might be interested. So who knows? Maybe help grow it in the area, and we'll see what we can do. So anyway, I'm gonna get to work. Carbon flex. Compare that. I'm gonna integrate, I think, that overstep that I learned with the 51-inch last time and see what happens from the get-go. And all the stuff doesn't matter. So let's get to work. Skyrocket, and I didn't overstep, so that came out right. Let's adjust. Let's see if I can get it figured out. Might have lost that ball. Overcorrected, and it just came out low left. Just kind of go with what I got. Camera fell over again. I heard it. Five more. That one was good. I had to focus on the lower step and low throw. I just don't know if it's going to be as consistent. Dang it. Kept falling over. This tripod is awful. I don't have my good one with me. I have a real nice one that'll stand up a lot better than this, but all the support is just 3 spread out feet on the bottom. That one might be my best one. The only problem with this dad is I'm not going to know which ball's which. I have an idea of that one because it's the only one down the center of the fairway, but maybe right center. last two are. It's probably my best throw with this club. Not a club, not golf. All right, so you can see field behind me. I did have one, that orange one. I don't know how much commentary I'm going to keep in the video, but I'm going to flip this around. You can see the fairway out here where most of my balls are. My ball went in somewhere along this fence line, but I couldn't find it. But I know close enough to where it's at, so I just kind of marked kind of where this white ball is, but up against the fence. I marked that one. I'm probably going to throw that one out of the data. Partially, at least as far as distance goes. It was just a really bad shot. I was trying, it was like my second or third shot with that carbon flex, and I just overcorrected and just kind of had a low worm burner into the weeds. But everything else actually was pretty good. I'm gonna go over everything. You'll get a little preview here. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see all the balls. I'm actually gonna cut left here and work away from the sun so there's not a glare on the phone, so that all the balls can be seen. You'll obviously get a little bit of a preview as far as what the data is going to look like, but maybe not the exact numbers and stuff like that, but you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm thinking so far. It's a little minor spoiler. There's trade-offs, pros and cons, but I'll kind of talk about that at the end. So, all right, I am now even with my farthest ball, and again, the blue and pinks, I'm not going to do it yet. The blue and pinks are the Showtime, my 49-inch Showtime stick that I've been using forever. I'm very comfortable with it. The greens, they have little red flecks to represent the red Saber. Plus, Scantron was kind of joking around on Facebook today about I got the blue and the red. It's the first time they've ever been seen side by side. Now I just need a green one. So I'm kind of playing into that where, hey, Scantron said I need a green. I need a green. So Kenzo, anybody else out there that might have a Kenzo sticking around that they're willing to sell, I'm willing to pay. I need that green. I got to complete the Triforce. I got to get the Star Wars main colors going. I need it. So, all right, so I'm going to flip this back around and I'm going to kind of show the ball. So this first one is my longest shot. So as I get a little bit closer so everybody can see it in the video, my absolute farthest shot was a Showtime. And it was not my last one with that. It was somewhere around the middle. All right, but running down this line, we got a random carbon flex, which was one of my last, I believe, 3 to 4 shots. I finally kind of figured out what was going on with that. So I had 3 good ones. I think I know which ones they are. But I got a random carbon flex. But then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My finger's zooming in on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Scantron sticks. Center fairway. So 5 of my 7 longest shots were all with that stick. And then I'm going to kind of just go sideways. But before Scantron, before you get a big head, I got a Showtime. I got another Showtime. I got another Showtime here. I got a Showtime there. And then I got another Scantron. I got those other 2 really good carbon flexes out here. I'll get a little bit closer just to make sure everybody can kind of see everything that's out here. So there's 2 carbon flexes on the right, Showtime over there. Now they start drifting right a little bit. So I did notice my right shots did go a little bit shorter. Kind of makes sense because it's a different angle from the tee box, but I got another Showtime and then a Scantron. I got a carbon flex, a Scantron, and a Scantron out there in the distance. I got a Showtime here in the shadow, and then I got Showtime, carbon flex, Showtime. And then I got one more carbon flex over here. And then I got my bad shots. I got 1 bad shot with my Showtime right here, but that's still fairway. So all 10 out of 10 with the Showtime on the fairway. And then I got a carbon flex up there on the hill. I did miss a fairway. I think this was my very first one, but right there you can kind of see it in the grass is a Scantron. I think that was my first shot though. It's either my first or second, and it sailed right on me. And then way back here, I got 2 more carbon flexes here, here, and here. So that's all my shots. I missed 2 fairways because I got that Scantron one, and then I got the one way over there by the trees. So one with the Scantron, one with the Carbon Flex. Both of them are the 51 inches. But those are the shots. I'll kind of pan around and maybe try to block the sun a little bit. I'm standing kind of now in the middle. So starting at the back shots, there's my bad shots. These are getting into some of my weak and faded right. And then maybe I can get into the shade of this tree to get all of these. But then I've got a whole bunch here. Yeah, that's good shade. And then just kind of out here, pepper in the middle of the fairway. And I'm not going to tell the exact number, but this is all right around 200 for most of these shots. All right, so let's go crunch some numbers, pick all these balls up, and then talk about it. Okay, so as we're driving back, talk a little bit of kind of preliminary data. I don't have time to do all the math out here. I promise I'd get in the cart back by 8:15, and it's 7:55 now. I have actually been locked into this course before, and I had to call the course manager to get him to come out here and let me back in, so I don't want to push that this time. So I'm going to get out there. So preliminary data, I'm going to start with left and right divergence. With the show time, if I threw out my worst shot, so the 2 farthest right ones with the Scantron and the show time, and then that one that missed way left. So if I throw that out, I had 19 yards of left-right dispersion, but again, all in the fairway with Showtime, my 49-inch. Actual was 35 yards if I had counted that one, but again, 35 yards of dispersion, 10 out of 10 in the fairway though, so I can live with that. For the Scantron, throwing out that one that missed the fairway right, if I threw that one out, counted, you know, first shot, getting used to it, whatever, 23 yards. Left-right dispersion. Actual was 40, so not much worse, which surprised me because a lot of those shots felt way right. I think I might have been getting a good left kick to them because of that specific fairway. But the numbers are the numbers. It did feel, though, that I was missing those first couple left because I did say I was going to talk about feel. And then the Carbon Flex, I'll tell you right now, the Carbon Flex is not for me. So actual throwing out the really bad one that went way left, I had 29 yards of, you know, kind of best dispersion, but actual dispersion I had 60. And I just never felt comfortable with it. I did get the last 3 to 4 shots, I think, figured out. All 4 of them were dead, right straight down the middle, felt good. So I think if I tinkered with it, I could get it there. But the distance wasn't as far as either the 49-inch or the 51-inch regular flex. So that shows me the Carbon Flex is not for me. My voice is going out a little bit. Carbon Flex is not for me. I guess my swing speed, that proves it. It is too high, even for a 43-year-old man. So Carbon Flex is not for me. I was averaging just under 200 yards. I don't know the exact math, but I'm averaging just under 200 yards. I only had 4 above 200 yards with that one. Now the show time, my shortest was 184. My longest, which was the longest shot, was 220. So that's my front to back dispersion. But I only had 4 of them that were under 200 yards, and those were 196, 196, 188. So basically over 200 yards. But it felt very comfortable. My group dispersion was very tight, so it was very, very accurate. Again, I think that comes with I'm very comfortable with it. It's what I've been playing with for months, so that's to be expected. Now the surprising thing is the Scantron. My shortest one was 182, and that was the one that was way off. But other than that, it was everything else was above 200 yards. I had a couple exactly at 200. My longest was a 218. So I think on average, the Scantron is adding distance for me, the 51-inch. I don't necessarily think it's a difference in the shaft. I know we were talking about if there's a difference in the shaft between the Scantron and the Showtime. I don't think it's that. I think the numbers are close enough that it's just the extra 2-inch length. Now, as far as the dispersion and the grouping, I honestly think if I were to play around with it, once I kind of figured out what I needed to do to overstep that last step and really point my toe almost left of target, I kind of figured it out, and that they started going straight. And that's why I had that line of, you saw them 5 in a row, right there, all at the same distance, very consistent within a good group. So I think if I just play with it and get used to it and get used to that overstep, I think I am going to prefer the drives with the 51 inch. I've been kind of fighting it a little bit because of putting, but that does kind of segue into my next thing. I don't know how my chipping is going to be. I don't know how my approach shots are going to be, and I definitely don't know how my putting is. I cannot do my normal chest putt that I normally do with the chest anchor putt, pendulum swing. That's what I do with my 49 inch. Feels very comfortable. I like it. I'm standing right over top of the ball. I was messing around a little bit at home with some putting styles. I cannot do the chest swing. It's in my neck and it's still leaned forward. So I'm not looking directly over the ball. I'm not looking along my putting path. I don't think it's going to be accurate. But I did notice that I can do the Bryson DeChambeau and tuck it along my arm, but I have to pin it in my armpit. It's that long to get it a good comfortable length where it's kind of resting flat on the ground and I'm looking over top of the thing. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because that gives me a second pivot point where I kind of just pinch it into my armpit. And then it also goes back to my old style, traditional golf putting style, because I was a traditional putter. You know, I didn't use any of the crazy stances. I didn't use the claw grip, anything like that. I just was a traditionalist. So this also, tucking into my armpit, my grip is actually entirely below the grip. So it's on the actual shaft, which is a little bit obviously narrower than a normal putter, but it's this, I don't have one hand above and one hand below, so it feels kind of natural. I feel like I have a lot of control. So what I want to do is I want to do a little bit more testing as far as, you know, playing around with it basically. You know, play 18 holes with it, 36 holes, whatever. Practice some approach shots, practice a lot of putting. I didn't have time today, I probably would have done it, plus I don't have my putting slug. So I definitely want to do some practicing. If I can get used to the putting, and again, fine tune the drive, which I think will come. I think I got that figured out. But if I can do the putting and get comfortable with that, and my putting is at least equal to my 49-inch chest anchor pendulum swing, if not better, and if it doesn't hurt my approach shots or my chip shots, then showtime. Austin, we share a name. All right, my middle name, your first name. Girl dads, all right. But I might switch. Sorry, I hate to say it. But it is adding 5 yards, I think. Average 5 yards, maybe even possibly 10. And we've been talking about distance, you know, online. So if I can get that extra 5 yards by switching to that 41 inch without hurting my putting and the rest of my game, I might have to switch. I might go to 51. But I could still order a 51 inch Encore if they got them in stock. I don't know if they're sold out or not. And just switch to a 59. I probably won't do that. I'll probably keep both in the bag. I am going to still keep my carbon flex though, just for when I'm teaching people if they got a slower swing speed. But so yeah, so that's my overall thoughts. Otherwise, you know, overall it's a great club. It's gorgeous as well. I mean, so and that's my carbon flex. Ignore that one. That's got the flame head. But I'm going to actually switch that to the silver one that I've got on my wall, so it looks like a torch. And I've got the purple carbon fiber head that I want to switch and make it match. But this amber weave head with that red stick, I mean, look how pretty that is. That is a pretty stick. And I love the detail on the, let me switch it around. I love the detail with the Fling Golfer in the O and kind of the ball in the A. So Scantron, I love the detail on that. And then just for anybody who hasn't actually seen one of these other ones, you know, I got to shout out Showtime as well, fellow Austins. This one, okay, signature AE Austin Ebersol. And look at this one, that blue flame head with that baby powder blue, you know, gorgeous blue stick. I mean, that's just, these are just, you can't beat these. These are just gorgeous. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. Hopefully this helps somebody if you're interested in purchasing them. I don't know how to compare it to a regular ballistic though. I don't have a regular normal shaft, non-signature, regular flex ballistic, so I can't compare it. So I don't know how to compare to that. I don't know if those ones, the signature ones, are stiffer or not. Once I get one, I'll come back out and do another comparison and test kind of all three of them. I know my 49 and my 51 inch are comparable. It looks by now the 49 might be slightly more accurate, but is about 5 yards shorter, unless I get that 51 dialed in. So yeah, good testing. Let me get this cart turned in, and I'm gonna go edit this stuff. I'll put this up on YouTube since it's a little bit longer format. So All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and keep out there flinging. All right, so one last part of the video, final data. I did a couple different versions of it. All of them tell the exact same story. Just kind of the amount is different. So, perfect. I'm stopped at the red light anyway. All right, total average, counting every single shot. The Showtime was 203.3. The Scantron was 206.6, and the Carbon Flex was 191.3, which seems pretty accurate. All right, light's green, so I might pause as I'm looking at these numbers and have to kind of make sure I'm on a straightaway, which I'm on a fairly straight part of the road, so I should be okay. All right. Then I did a set of data. I noticed that each one had a significantly shorter shot. The Carbon Flex and the Scantron had like 3 or 4 each that were definitely shorter, but they weren't like, there was one from each of them that was way, way off. So I took that one out and did it all divided by 9. So I took the average of kind of the best 9, and it gave the same story, but the distance or difference was different. So the Showtime was 205.4. The Scantron was 209.3, so a difference of 3.9 yards. It used to be 3.3, so it added basically 0.6, taking out that worst shot. And then the Carbon Flex was 195.5, so that raised it about 4.2 yards, taking out that terrible 153 shot. Then I figured, well, what if I get all of them dialed in? Because obviously with the Showtime, the 49-inch, I'm a lot more comfortable with it. So I felt more consistent with that one. And I was a little bit surprised by these results. The Showtime, well, I guess I shouldn't be, because now that I'm looking at it, it actually does make sense. The Showtime was 211.2, average best 5. So this is kind of my best 5, my best half. 211.2. The Scantron, the 51-inch, 214.8. So the difference between my best Showtime and my best of the Scantron actually shrunk. That went to 3.6. So that went kind of in between 3.3, 3.9, and then it's 3.6. So it's exactly in the middle of that. But that's all kind of within margin. That could be bounces. So it's basically, I'd call it an average 3.5 yards farther across the board, no matter how I work the data. So I'm looking at gaining about 3.5 yards average with the 51-inch. And then the Carbon Flex was way back, 206.8. So, you know, it's 5 yards short of the Showtime, 8 yards short of the same length, which is very comparable. You know, that's kind of a good comparison of how much the Carbon Flex doesn't help me, which, again, from everything I've heard, I'm kind of the anomaly. You know, probably a lot of them on the Pro Tour, you know, the top ones in the world, faster swing speeds. They did say that faster swing speed people don't notice it, but the slower swing speeds do. They notice about a 10 to 15 yard increase. I saw a 5 to 8 yard decrease. I guess you could say 8 yards counting the same length stick. So direct comparison, I lost 8 yards, which kind of makes me feel better. Means I got a faster swing speed, so that's good. So yeah, overall, my Showtime, my 49-inch, had tighter dispersion, tighter shot groups. I kind of wish I could go back and take those best 5 shots and look at the dispersion of those, because the left to right dispersion, I do remember, because they were all in a line. If you remember on the video, that part of the video, for the Scantron, they were all in that line, but it was kind of a wide line. But for the Showtimes, the 49-inch, they were all really, my best 5 were probably no more than 10 yards apart in any direction. So really good group dispersion on that one. But again, my 5 best with the Scantron, the distance might have been, the distance, just looking at it real quick, is 9 yards. No, 7 yards. 218 to 211 were my best 5. So it's only 7 yards apart, and that actually is my best 6. Well, no, because the other one was 207, so it's a little bit shorter. So 11 yards, though, with my best 6. But my left-right dispersion was a lot greater. But again, I think I can dial in that left-right dispersion. I did feel fairly comfortable with it once I got dialed in. I obviously felt very comfortable with my show time because I'm used to the 49 inches. It was slight, that burp was due to a McDonald's released a dirty Dr. Pepper. And I'm a big Dr. Pepper fan. I'm Texan, of course we're all Dr. Pepper fans. But it's Dr. Pepper with vanilla syrup in it, and then they said cold foam on the top, and I kind of stirred it in there. But Dr. Pepper always makes me burp. Anyway, so the showtime, obviously, I'm very, very comfortable with it. I felt great throwing it. I always feel great throwing it. I can get a full swing in it. Coming around left to right, I'm not worried about hitting the ground. There was a couple throws with the Scantron, because my first, I think, 2 throws went so far right. I said, you know what, I'm just going to try to chop it, like chopping wood over my shoulder. And if I hit the ground, I hit the ground. And I did. I slammed the ground real hard. But it went a lot straighter and still went pretty far. I don't think it was one of my farthest, but it did go a lot straighter. But then once I figured out, I was like, okay, I don't want to keep hitting the ground like that. So I did the diagonal swing. I have to do a much more diagonal swing with that one than I did with the 49 inch. It's surprising how much more diagonal I have to go with just only 2 inches of extra length. But that was continuing. It pushed me back right after I did that. So then I figured out that overstep, and then I started throwing them a full swing through, or full follow through, hitting, the back of my shoulder, and it was going dead center down the fairway, and those were my best, 4 to 5 shots with that one. The carbon flex, I never felt comfortable. Even on those last 3, I think that I did, that felt actually pretty good, and I think I got kind of figured out. It still didn't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I could go out there with no warm-up on a round and just grab the stick and just fling it and be fine. The showtime, I do feel like I can do that. I can just go out there, pick up the stick. I don't need to warm up. I can just show up on the first tee at my tee time, just grab it and just start launching it, and I'm good to go. I do think if I do use the Scantron, I might eventually get to that point, but I think it's going to be one of those things where I do need to swing maybe 5, 5 to 10, just to remind my body of that overstep to the left to get it going down center fairway. So I don't know, again, how that's going to affect everything else. Honestly, 3.5 yards is not that huge of a difference to me that I'm willing to compromise the comfort of my approach shots, chipping, and putting. So it's really going to come down to those. If my approaches, chipping, and putting are all either the same or even better, then I think, at that point, it's like, well, if I'm not hurting those parts of the game, then 3.5 yards is 3.5 yards. I might as well switch. And then if any of those are better, then definitely I want to switch because it's improving multiple facets of my game. But if any of them hurt my game, then I don't think it's worth the switch to kind of lose that comfort and reliability by switching and taking the extra 50 or 3.5 yards. So there's still a chance I don't switch. Both of them are so gorgeous, though. Looks wise, I can't decide. Blue is a little bit of a favorite color. To me, I like blue more than I like red. But my high school colors growing up were red and white, so there is some love for red there. So I don't know. I'm still torn. It's going to take some more testing. Either way, it's a fantastic stick. It's been well worth the money. I have no regrets for it. And who knows? Maybe after playing around with it, getting a little bit more comfortable with it, maybe that 3.5 starts creeping up to 5, 6, 7 extra yards, and then it becomes even more of a decision. So overall, I love it. Kind of a product review. It's definitely worth it. Paying the extra money, the extra premium over just a regular 51-inch ballistic, it depends on your wallet, how much you value the aesthetics. Personally, I love the aesthetics of Fling Golf because we are not that traditional kind of uptight golfer. I do view us as more of the fun, flashier. Jacob Hooters out there in Hawaiian shirts all the time, and I try to wear bright, bold colored polos all the time. So I do like, and I purposely use Vice balls that are bright colored balls with different multiple patterns and stuff like that, just because I like to match the aesthetics. So to me, it's worth it just for the extra aesthetic of it. Plus, owning a part of history. These guys are eventually going to retire. They're, of course, younger than me, so they'll probably retire after I retire. So they'll probably still playing by the time I stop playing. But, even then, I got collector's pieces on my wall. It's having a part of history. It's a limited run. That's kind of neat. I missed out on the Kenzo. I don't have Kenzos. I don't have the green. And it's never going to be restocked probably, so it's going to be super hard to get. So, who knows? So, yeah, I definitely like it. And if nothing else, this gave me a good review of just because I've been curious about a 51, but I knew that Carbon Flex just wasn't for me. But I didn't, Mike Weber's in my area, and I borrowed his 51, but I was a lot newer to the game. He's got a 51 regular, and I didn't feel very comfortable with it. But again, if I play around with it, I think I can get used to it. But overall, I'm very happy. I don't regret the purchase. I like it. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna get back to this show real quick without crashing. I'm gonna get back to my dirty Dr. Pepper here, and then go home and get some rest. All right, happy flinging. Hope everybody's doing good out there, getting that practice in there. And Austin, like we've been talking about, that 200-yard carry. I know not all of this was carry. I had a slight wind in my back, and I was getting a little bit of rollout. But I was still probably carrying 190, I would say, and without the wind, probably 185 with most of these. So 200-yard carries coming. Hitting the gym as well. I joined a workout group at my church, 5:15 in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My arms are a little sore. Maybe I could have thrown farther today if it wasn't for that, but I didn't feel sore. But maybe just a little bit of effort. But hey, I'm coming for that 200-yard carry. That's the dream. Get my core up, get my arms up, leg strength, and get that 200-yard carry. Let's get it going. Get to work.